I'm hearing that people are taking the pin out of grenades, putting the pin back in, and it's cooked off part of the time, and then they're putting it onto the tripwire, and it's almost an insta-death. That's not how grenades work, DayZ. Cooking grenades. This one frustrates me. The grenade tripwires, I fucking love them. I've said for ages that we needed a way to defend your bases better and things like that. But I'm hearing that people are taking the pin out of grenades, putting the pin back in, and it's cooked off part of the time, and then they're putting it onto the tripwire, and it's almost an insta-death. That's not how grenades work, DayZ.
Didn't Rav do a video on cooking grenades? I believe he did a while back. I love that. That is so brilliant. If you have the mental note to be able to cook a grenade, put the pin back in, and arm something with it.
But it frustrates me because that's not how grenades work.
It's actually not. That's it. That's not how grenades work. Like even in DayZ, though.
No, I know that's not how grenades work. But I'm just saying, if you have that mental note, kudos to you, dude. I can't be mad for you playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, especially like if feature is there, then yeah, people are going to use it. But when it comes down to it, though, it's a very strange issue because when you unpin the grenade in DayZ, it doesn't actually go off in your hand because
you're holding the handle in.
Exactly. You're holding the spoon.
You're holding it. So when you drop it, when you throw it, yeah, then obviously it's going to go off. So when people seem like they unpin the grenade, then pin it, then put it in, and then it instantly blows off. I know DayZ has already said that is how it's meant to be. I love you guys, but that is. No, that's an exploit waiting to happen. And in fact, people are already exploiting it, and you've added such a fantastic feature back into the game that players have been asking for. And
you know what they could do to compromise it? You know what they could do to compromise it? They could have your normal grenades, which are more common, which are on a timer, and then they could implement a fuse instantaneous grenade. I'm not even sure if that exists. I've got a vague recollection that it may, but one that is designed to be used on a booby trap, or maybe it's got an extremely short timer. It's a different model grenade. It's rare as hen's teeth, maybe only drops and, chopper crashes and tier 4 toxic zones and stuff like that. And if you find them, you can use those on your booby traps so that they go off instantaneously when the person trips the grenade, but not allow every grenade in the game. Because let's face it, having played a bit of experimental, grenades are pretty fucking common. They're not a rare item by any stretch of the imagination. And it's borderline, they fixed the issue that I was always complaining about with landmines. If you're at full health, a landmine won't kill you. It'll really fuck you up, but it won't kill you. Grenades, though, will kill you, as they should.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I very well may be wrong on this, but a claymore explosive works off a tripwire.
No.
Kind of.
No.
Claymores work off of a clacker, which is they're a command detonated item. You put a fuse into the top of the claymore. Now, this is the traditional way to use them. You can, if you've got the right equipment, rig them up so that it could work off of a tripwire, that a tripwire activates the fuse or the detonator and sets it off. But your traditional claymore, the packaging it comes with, is just the clacker and the claymore, and then you need to have a detonator and the relevant cord, whether it be you use an
electric circuit, right?
Yes, you use an electrical det usually for a claymore.
Yeah.
You could use a non-elect det and just have it set off of a fuse that you lit and it goes off, but that kind of defeats the purpose. The claymore is not a mine per se, but it's a command detonated weapon that's generally used for ambushes or for defensive positions, so that when the enemy are at a certain point, you grab the clacker and you 1, 2, 3. Usually it goes off on the first one, but you pump it 3 times because the clacker is generating the electrical impulse to send to the electrical detonator.
Well, the reason why I bring that up is because I think that would be a pretty cool explosive implementation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
No matter how you build it, whether it's unrealistic with like a tripwire or with a clacker on the realistic end, I think for defense purposes, that would be a really cool implementation. So
yep, too right. Yeah, but I mean, when going back to the actual situation with the grenades and the tripwires, it's like, yes, it's such a fantastic addition, like I said, but the dev team or whoever made that design choice is definitely, I don't want to sound like too much of a cock, but you've definitely shot yourself in the foot if you think that that's the best way to go about it, because people's just like when you go over tripwire, you have, as Boydie you showed last weekend, you can just crouch or you and you can get past it. That's perfectly fine. Great, you've already got a way to avoid it. But when you accidentally trip over it, you should still have a chance to get away from it, and that goes to any kind of like attachment that you can put on the tripwire. You should be able to get away from it, like flashbangs. You should have the opportunity to try and at least get away from that, because even when it does go off, there's an audio cue for when you've gone through it. You've got an animation when you stumble when you go through it. People can still ambush you, but when you have grenades that instantly go off, it's like, that's just unfair on the end user, the end player. You should still have an opportunity to get out of that situation. Because
I'd like it if they added an interesting mechanic, such as if you trip it and then hold shit, lay down, you get less of a blast. Because grenades generally do tend to funnel upwards. There's still some that goes out, but maybe less damage if you have the presence of mind to lay down when you've tripped a tripwire.
That would be
I definitely see what you're coming from, because just being on the receiving end of something like that would be rage inducing.
Yes,
that said, as a defensive item, I don't have an issue with an instantaneous grenade.
No,
that's why I think it'd be great to use make a rarer grenade that is instantaneous or has a 1 second fuse or something like that, as opposed to the traditional 4 to 5 second fuse that most grenades have.
Heck, definitely an improvised explosive device, like
a nail bomb,
like just something like if
they've got a cooking pot in the game,
like yeah, exactly. You easily could just make some kind of IED connected to your tripwire, and it's like that would be a really good alternative to a grenade. It's like, yes, you have to spend a bit more time and resources to make it, but it instantly goes off. You're satisfying those kind of players that use that mechanic. But if you have a grenade, and it's like you're satisfying both parties in that case, it's like that you're still able to use the tripwire as intended, but as a player, you still have the opportunity to get away from it.